Welcome to the Outdoor Muscle Show, where we talk about strength, endurance, adventure, and everything in between. My guest today is JB from the Rugged Outdoorsmen. JB is an adventurer, explorer, and certified personal trainer. We talk about how JB got started living the outdoor lifestyle, his experience testing outdoor equipment, and how he became the field marketing lead for campfire brand Timbertote. I always talk about staying fit to live a more adventurous life. Well, JB is living that life, and I'm excited to share our conversation with you. Now, on to the show. JB, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Buck.
Happy to have you on. So I've been following your account, the Rugged Outdoorsmen, for a while now, and it immediately appealed to me because you have some excellent nature photography and you're living this awesome outdoor lifestyle, which speaks to my heart at Outdoor Muscle. So why don't we just start off with a little bit about your background and how you got into the outdoor lifestyle?
Sure. I grew up in the Adirondack Mountains in a little hamlet pretty close to Lake Placid, New York, right in the heart of the Adirondacks. And so I grew up in a little hamlet there, and I spent most of my youth fishing and camping along the Au River. So that's how my outdoor lifestyle began, was fishing along this trout stream.
And where are you at now?
So now I live in Mesquite, Nevada. I'm about an hour and 10 minutes north of Las Vegas.
Gotcha. A lot of good opportunity for outdoor activities in Nevada.
Absolutely. Nevada has more mountain ranges than any other state. I'm only about a 40-minute drive from southern Utah. Utah is a playground for anybody that loves the outdoors, from hiking, fishing, camping, you name it. So yeah, I live in a great place.
How did you get into the photography aspect?
Boy, that's an interesting question, Buck. So when I got in the military, I went to all these crazy exotic places, right? And started to get this passion to document the land. Growing up in the mountains myself and camping and fishing along the Au River as a teen, I wished that I would have documented some of that with a camera. But you don't think of that when you're a teenage boy. You think about capturing that brown trout along the river's edge.
Right.
I started carrying, believe it or not, disposable cameras with me. One of the reasons I carried a disposable camera was back in this time, in the military unit that I was with, we had some pretty strict regulations on what we could and couldn't have with us, and obviously what we could film and what photos we could capture and when. But that's what kind of started my journey with photography.
That's awesome. And you've obviously come a long way since the disposable camera.
Oh, absolutely. And it's funny looking back on that, because you had 36 exposures and you were lucky if you really captured 3 that meant anything to you, and all the rest of them went in the garbage.
I remember having disposable cameras, and it was just a mystery. You have no idea if you were taking good photos or not until you got it back developed.
So that's how I got my start, and I truly enjoy photography now. In fact, I've got over 13,000 photos on my cell phone, and I keep saying I'm going to go through these photos and either edit or delete, but it's a never-ending process.
So tell us a little bit about the Instagram account, the Rugged Outdoorsmen, that you have with your son, Mike.
So that's a good story. I started this social media journey. Basically, I just wanted to do something with my son. I have 4 boys and he's the youngest. So when I retired from law enforcement, he got really stuck with dad. I had more time on my hands, and I'm taking him all over the place, climbing mountains and exploring caves, abandoned mines. We should start documenting this and sharing it with other people, father and son kind of thing. And so the Rugged Outdoorsman was born. And it's basically the story of the 2 of us and what we do when we're traveling around the Southwest.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's part of what attracted me to your account, is because it reminded me of adventures I used to go on with my dad. We didn't have the photography skills that you do, but it just created that like nostalgia, I guess, a little bit. And it seems like your son really enjoys it as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun together doing it. And we spend our evenings when we're out camping really just laughing around the campfire about some of the crazy things that we did earlier in the day and looking at our photographs and our video. And it's really a good time. It's a good time right now, I think, in just in America in general, with the ability that you have to capture anything that's happening because everybody is carrying a camera in their pocket.
Yeah. That is one good thing about having the phone on you all the time. Sometimes we hate on it a little bit because of the addiction that goes along with modern cell phones. But on the flip side, you have this awesome camera just in your pocket with you wherever you go. Is that what you're shooting on mostly, is a cell phone?
95% of the time, yes.
Wow, that's even more impressive. I never figured out how to use my cell phone to get that good of a shot. I assumed you were using like a fancy DSLR camera.
Yeah, I appreciate the compliment. I've had a lot of different cameras in the past. I actually belong to a photography club, and you would be shocked because so many people in my photography club are professional photographers, and they're all leaning heavily on their cell phone.
That's good to know. You don't have to go out there and get a $2,000 camera to take really good quality photos.
And that's the truth, because I would say 2 out of 3 photographs that really come out fantastic that are shared at our photography club meetings were taken with a cell phone.
Do you have a bucket list of locations, or is it just you go out in Nevada, you pick a spot for the day? How do you decide where you're going to explore next?
Some of it is random and some of it we plan. It depends on whether we have a short weekend, a long weekend, and how far I want to travel. If we have a short weekend, I don't want to drive more than 3 to 4 hours to get to a destination. If we have a long weekend, I'm willing to go 5 or 6 hours to get to a destination. In fact, we're going on a trip this weekend, and I've got a little bit more travel time to play with. So we're headed up into Utah to do some trout fishing.
Do you tent camp, or are you in an RV, or what's the lodging situation like when you go on these adventures?
Sometimes we tent camp. Sometimes we'll go with our Jeep or our UTV and we'll tent camp. Most of the time, when my wife Michelle comes with us, we'll take our RV. I've got a 24-foot Thor with a Ford E450, and it's built on that Ford E450 platform. And I've got the truck all rigged out to go on back roads here in the Southwest. I put a lift kit on it. I've got 10-ply all-terrain tires on it. So we're able to get to some pretty unique places using that rig.
Are you guys ever going out of state, or are there any locations that you'd have to fly to that's at the top of the list for you guys?
Honestly, with my travel in the military, I prefer to stay stateside. My wife likes to go on cruises. In fact, we just got back from the Caribbean. We did a 7-day cruise, but I like to keep my feet on the ground, honestly.
I'm the same way. I've done a lot of airline travel over the years, and at this point, I would much rather just go somewhere I can drive to. Every time you get on a plane nowadays, it takes a lot out of you.
I don't care for air travel anymore at all. And I really only do it for my wife, Michelle. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it at all.
I'm the same way. And changing time zones just kills me. Like, even if I'm going to do some cool activity or adventure, I'm tired half the time because of the time zone transition. So I'd much rather just stay around here. Especially, it's like in Washington, we have so much nature and outdoor activities you can do. Like, you could spend your whole life and probably not do it all.
Exactly. There's so much to see in our own country that I really lack the desire to want to go to anyone else's country now.
So you're a personal trainer as well, is that right?
Yeah, I'm a certified personal trainer.
So the fitness thing is pretty big for me, and I love the combination of fitness and the outdoors, or using fitness to live an outdoor adventurous lifestyle. Can you tell me a little bit about how you stay fit so you can continue tackling these new adventures?
I hike a lot, so I spend a lot of time traversing mountains, and I have an outdoor gym in my backyard. So that's really interesting in itself because the climate here allows me to. I've got a cable crossover machine, a leg press machine, standing calf, you name it. I've pretty much got everything that you would want in a regular gym outside in my backyard. And I have membership at 2 local gyms here where we live. Fitness has always been a big part of my life since entering the military.
And you had some roles in the military and then in your career after that that required you to maintain a pretty high degree of fitness, right?
True.
I know you have somewhat of a relationship with a company called Coreboard, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that because after you and I spoke the first time, I looked into it and it seemed like a really good option for people that are on the move or they're going on different excursions or whatever, but they still want to maintain that fitness as they go. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you got hooked up with that?
Sure. I've done a lot of work with a lot of different companies. When the Rugged Outdoorsmen began to evolve, we started field testing different types of outdoor equipment, which was a lot of fun, especially father and son, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got approached by a company called Coreboard, and come to find out it's co-owned by another former Marine like myself. So we had a couple of phone conversations. We had a Zoom meeting, and long story short, the guy sends me out his top of the line board and a bunch of attachments that go with it. And I said, I'm going to field test this thing. I'm going to take it out with us everywhere we go and give the guy my honest opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got to tell you, Buck, this board, the core board, is really a cool piece of equipment. You can slide it underneath your bed. We keep it underneath Mike's bunk in our RV, and we take it outside and we exercise with it outdoors. But it's so versatile. It's very versatile. It comes with resistance bands that attach to it, so you can do a lot of different exercises. What I like about it is it's not your typical resistance bands, right? These are very high quality. They're true to the weight that they're rated for. So if you put a resistance band on there that says 30 pounds of resistance, I'm telling you, it's very true to the weight. And that's one of the things I like about the board, to be honest, is that it's so not just versatile, but it's true to what you would expect if you were training with free weights, right?
Yeah, that's awesome because a lot of times you see those cables and they're almost nothing. You're not going to get a good workout from them. So that's pretty cool that it has like a high intensity factor to it.
Yeah, they're really high quality. And when you're going through a movement, let's just say bicep curls, for example, the resistance seems to stay in that zone that you would expect all the way through the movement from top to bottom. Unlike a lot of cheaper resistance bands where it'll start out easy and then it'll get a little bit more difficult and then it peaks and goes by. These keep that resistance all the way through the movement. And that's what impresses me with the core board and their attachments.
Yeah, that's cool. It seems like a good option. And it makes sense that a Marine was the one to invent that because you're traveling a lot in the military and you don't always know if there's going to be a gym where you end up or a decent gym where you end up. So having something like that you can bring with you seems like a pretty good way to go. Do you use it when you're at home or is it mostly just for the road now?
Sometimes I'll take it out in the backyard and work out with it. I prefer to use it when we're traveling. That's what works best for me.
Mm-hmm.
But a homeowner would certainly appreciate it because you could slide it underneath your bed and pull it out and use it, or underneath the sofa in the living room.
Yeah, that's awesome. So do you work as a personal trainer at all, or what made you get a personal training certification?
I worked at a law enforcement training academy as a drill instructor, and we were all certified as personal trainers at the academy. It was just part of the prerequisite to work there and teach the recruits. So I did work at a commercial gym. I worked at an Anytime Fitness here in Mesquite, Nevada for probably about 6 months prior to COVID. And then when COVID happened, the gym had to close down. And that's when I really shifted gears and started working heavily on the Rugged Outdoorsman project. And I haven't gone back to personal training since.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think a lot of us found solace in the outdoors during the COVID times and realized that's so much more fun and exciting to get some of your workouts outside and in nature. So I'm totally on board with that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people made a shift there for sure.
So one of the other companies that you work with is called Timbertote. And this is one I'm pretty excited about because after you told me about it, I went and I found some at our hardware store here in Washington. And I have a fire pit in the backyard, so I'm excited for when the weather gets a little less rainy to actually go out and use it. Why don't you just take a second and tell us what Timbertote is and how you got connected with them?
I want to see you burning that campfire.
I'm going to tag you in it for sure. That's part of my plan was to tag you in that.
It was the Rugged Outdoorsmen. We were field testing different types of gear and equipment. One day, we came across the Timbertote ourselves in a sportsman's warehouse. So I bought a couple of them. I brought them home and I started fooling around with one of them a little bit. And I'm taking some video footage and taking a few still photos. And I said, boy, this is interesting. There's something here. So I looked into the social media side of it, and the company had zero social media presence at all. And then I looked at their website, and the website was really in need of some TLC, let's say. I said, I'm going to reach out to the company and find out what's going on and offer them some service to create some content for them. Long story short, I ended up talking to the owner, and we talked in length on several occasions, and we ended up working out a contract together. I've never looked back. So I've been working with the company for more than 2 years now.
That's awesome. That's such a good reason to just be proactive.
Yeah.
And they're getting pretty big. I see their stuff. I didn't know it was you, but now I do. And I see it out there and it fits so well with your theme, the Rugged Outdoorsman. So it just seems like a natural partnership for you.
One of the things I think we have going for us is I'm based out here in the Southwest. From experience, we don't have a lot of trees around here. So if you want to have a campfire, truth is you've got two choices, Buck, and that's to buy one of those plastic wrapped bundles of wood at the local gas station, or you can use our product. You can use a Timbertote. And the great thing about the Timbertote is it's one log. It burns from the inside out, comes with an all natural hemp carrying handle. So it burns with the product, and it comes with its own fire starter. So you just take the fire starter out and start your campfire, and boom, you're good for about 2.5 hours. And you don't have all that hassle and mess that comes with those plastic wrap bundles of wood that you get from the gas station.
Yeah. And it burns clean, right? It's just wood. There's no additional chemicals like the plastic wrap stuff.
Yeah, no, it burns really clean. It's kiln dried. There's hardly any smoke. You can cook over it. There's so many benefits. And that benefit carries on way over anybody living in the Southwest. We sell them all over the country, but here in the Southwest, I think we dominate the market.
Yeah, I feel like the Southwest is that emblematic location for the campfire, so that makes sense. Where do you see the Rugged Outdoorsman going? What's your vision for your account?
I keep shifting more and more into the Timbertote campfires, and I'm slowly transitioning the Rugged Outdoorsman account. Right now, I would say 20% of my content involves the campfires and camping with Michael. I think that I'm going to transition that more to probably a 40-60, where 40% of our content is just about camping itself and introducing our campfires along with that. And then the other 60% will still be our adventures, right? Summiting mountains and exploring abandoned mines, fishing. You get the idea.
Are you guys still testing other outdoor gear?
I have an ongoing relationship with a coffee company, Angler's Coffee, which is in Washington.
Hmm.
We're in discussion about creating a coffee that is more outdoorsman specific and less just fisherman. In fact, I think we're pretty set on the name. And so I'm going to throw it out there. We're going to call it Dirtbag Coffee.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I love that. And it would still be under the angler fishing brand, or it'd be a whole separate brand.
Now, it'll still be under the Angler brand, but it's going to be an offshoot of its own with its own flavors. And we'll see where it's going to go. I think it's going to be really great for the outdoor community.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's a cool opportunity. I feel like coffee goes hand in hand with the outdoors. So, how did you get connected with them? Was it similar to the Timbertote where you just reached out, or did they reach out to you?
Boy, it's been so long, it's foggy. I think that they originally reached out to me, and after a few meetings together, I started repping the brand, and we have a pretty good relationship going. And the truth is, coffee and campfires and camping, right? Those three things, they go really well together, Buck.
Oh, yeah. You don't have to tell me. The best thing in the world is waking up, climbing out of the tent, and having a hot pot of coffee. Can't beat it. With the sunrise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. You got a lot of cool partnerships.
Yeah, those are my two biggest. Obviously, Timbertote and Anglers falls in pretty close behind it. In fact, I've pretty much begun to move away from field testing other companies' gear. I have a full-time partnership with a company that provides us with all our outdoor clothing and equipment. That's a company out of Ukraine. It's called MTAC. So we do rep MTAC's clothing and equipment, backpacks, their outdoor stoves.
Mhm.
And with that arrangement, they provide us with the clothing and equipment, and we tag it in our social media when we're using it. So I've got a great relationship there. I'm very heavily involved with the campfires, and the coffee brand is still up and coming. It's moving along. So I've gotten away from field testing other companies' gear, and unless it was a very lucrative opportunity, I don't think I would get involved in anything else right now.
Yeah, it seems like you got a pretty full plate with the companies you're already partnered with. Do you have any advice for anyone who's looking to do something similar or establish those types of relationships? I ask because it seems like you've had a pretty successful run at getting partnerships with these types of companies. Just curious, like what your thoughts are and how other people can go about doing something like that.
My advice is to go for it. It doesn't matter how small the product is. If you feel that it aligns with you, a lot of these companies start out and they offer free product for content. And that's what gets your foot in the door. So if you start creating content for a company, everybody's got, let's call them scouts, right? They've got scouts out there that are scrolling through social media, looking for smaller accounts and looking at your content, seeing how your video and photography is, and they offer product for content. If you get offered product for content and you think it's something you could align with, jump on it, because that's going to open the door to the next bigger thing, right? And the truth is, AI is coming on strong and fast. So if this is something you want to do, don't wait, because I see everything shifting probably within the next 3 years.
Yeah, it feels like it's shifting so fast, like every day. I can't imagine what everything's going to be like 3 years from now with the way AI is going.
I agree with you 100%.
I think that's good advice. It's being proactive. It's documenting what interests you and that you find joy in, that it isn't a chore to create.
I never thought Timbertote was going to suck up so much of my time, but I'm so involved with the company now that I work 4 to 5 hours a day, almost 7 days a week with it. But that's including filming campfires when I'm enjoying a campfire. I don't consider that work, but it's certainly hours that I'm committing to the company.
Yeah. And you created this opportunity for yourself. And
I did. And Mike and I have a lot of fun doing it. We have a lot of fun sitting around the fire and telling stories and capturing it on film. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a blessing. He's in 9th grade now, Buck. I've got 3 more years before he heads off to college.
yeah,
And I'm going to be honest with you. I think probably at about that 3-year mark, AI is going to become so prevalent that a lot of influencers are going to become obsolete.
yeah, I think a lot of jobs are going to become obsolete. It'll be interesting to see how it helped or how it affects the creative world.
Yeah, AI has gotten so good that you can't tell. I don't know if you're AI, Buck. Are you real over there?
Yeah, right. Like I saw some video the other day, I almost fell for. I'm like, wait a minute, this seems impossible. But it's the quality has gone from 0 to 100.
Where human beings and animals, although it's not real, they appear so real that you're tricked into believing that it is.
Yeah. And people have gotten so skilled with the editing. You've seen some of these like celebrity ones where they pretty much make a celebrity say whatever they want. They have to come out in real life and say, this isn't me. This is fake.
That's crazy. It's scary.
It is scary. Yeah. It's exciting, but there's a lot of questions I think still need to be answered and how it's going to be used.
Yeah, I think I'm going to spend a lot more time out in the wild and away from everybody after Mike graduates from school, because I don't know if I want to be a part of it when it gets that big. You know, Timbertote campfires is a very neat market. So you got to, one, create interesting content. And it has to be interesting enough where people will look at it and go, man, I want to try one of these campfires. So you've got to pique their interest and get them to want to purchase the product and try it out. It's a very, very neat market that we're attempting to reach. Even if I had a video go viral, let's say it got 1 million views, that doesn't mean that 100,000 people are going to run out and buy one of our campfires. They may have just thought that video was so cool, so unique and fantastic. That doesn't mean they're going to run out to the store and buy our niche product.
There's a lot of hurdles, right? If someone's seeing a video, what they like to actually going and purchasing the thing you're talking about.
Exactly. You make a funny video about, I don't know, a mattress, right? Somebody makes a funny video about a mattress and it gets 5 million views. And I watched the video and I loved it, but I already have a mattress.
Right.
I'm not going to buy one.
Yeah.
If you live in a climate or an area where campfire wood is plentiful, you're probably less likely to buy a campfire from Timbertote.
Right. Yeah.
I would love you to try one out, because I think that when you do, you're going to say, hey, this is perfect for my back patio.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to go through the hassle of cutting and splitting up kindling and adding newspaper or tinder or however it is that you normally build a campfire. You don't have to go through all that hassle with one of our campfires.
I got excited about it being in Washington because it is so hard to start a fire here because all the timber is so water soaked that even if you leave it out for, like I have a wood pile that it's been out 2 summers and it still doesn't burn very well because it just has been exposed to too much water throughout its lifespan. And so having something that can actually start a quick campfire, like, I'm looking forward to trying it this year.
Yeah. And back to your point there, and now you've got a smoky campfire.
Right. Yeah. That's Washington campfires in a nutshell, if you even do get started.
Yeah. So we're doing pretty good. We're getting in more stores. Things are looking up. I'm excited. I think that we're on the right path. I would love to see your podcast explode. And then when you run some of your old stuff, make sure you run ours.
I would love to see that too. And I definitely will. JB, this has been a great conversation. Where can people go to learn more about you and follow what you do?
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, The Rugged Outdoorsmen. That's plural, outdoorsmen, MEN. You can find us on Facebook under Timbertote, and you can find us on Instagram under @Real Timbertote, RealTimbertote. We also have a Timbertote YouTube channel, and we're beginning to dabble in TikTok, and that is @Real Timbertote as well.
Awesome. JB, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks very much for having me, Buck. It was a pleasure.
Likewise. Appreciate it. My guest today was JB. Make sure to follow him at The Rugged Outdoorsmen and Real Timbertote. If you're looking to get fit to live a more adventurous life, or you're ready to conquer that next big endurance goal, make sure to check out my coaching link in the description below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It helps me bring on great guests like JB. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.